Let me talk to you today about favoritism. We all seen it. We've all experienced it. Heck, I'm pretty sure we go through it every day in our jobs. Whatever it is you're doing, you know what I'm talking about. But favoritism in a family, now that right there, my friend, is where the issue is. You see, for every time that you turn around and you compare your children, that becomes a problem that down the road will always be an issue that will not get addressed. I've seen it time and time again. I also lived it, to where the template goes as follows. How is it that when a couple has a child, the child is everything to the couple? I mean, everything. The moment they pair up and they have another kid, and now it's two children and a couple, then the template begins. All of a sudden, you're going to find that what you used to do with one, you no longer do. Now you start to subconsciously prioritize. For example, every child is different because they have different personalities. Every child has different needs because of their age. When we have children that are young, we want to give them the world. But as soon as they start getting a little older, we start giving them responsibilities, and sometimes those responsibilities exceed the age that they are. So, majority of the time you'll see the template in full effect. The child begins to cry, the young one, of course, and the oldest is always at fault. There's always words and terms like, what did you do to your brother now? What did you do to your sister now? What did you do to your sibling? Go make them stop crying. Another example, give your sibling your toy. It shouldn't be that way. It's an easy fix, but again, because we don't have any sort of direction, we just confine to the template that is silently given and driven into our mind before we even think of what a family is like. So then, that's what's called sibling rivalry. Let's hope to think that the reason why this rivalry begins is because everything is great. You have a mom and dad. They obviously love you, but in their own special way. And again, like I said, that's where favoritism comes in, because the parents will have that special child that they love more above the rest. We shouldn't do these types of things because they lead to unnecessary behaviors, and then some years down the line, as they're grown up, the siblings don't get along. God forbid one of the siblings passes away, then they're left with the could've, should've, would've, but they didn't. And then they try to dig deep and they say, well, you were mom's favorite. Well, how can we stop that? It's called pay attention to detail. You don't have to live the template. I mean, think about it. If there is no true point of starting, then why do we all do the same thing? We're copies of copies. You may not know somebody else who lives on the other side of the continent or nation or country, and yet they're doing the same exact thing that you're doing. Sometimes you could be worse, they could be worse. It doesn't matter, because every single parent throughout generation you hear, well, there's no book that explains how to be a parent. But do you really need a book? I mean, think about it. Why do we say that term? Possibly the reason why we use that term, there's no book that teaches us to be good parents, is because we're trying to take away that responsibility and accountability and put it into, it's not my fault. Well, I wasn't raised that way. Well, my parents didn't teach me right, so that's why I did what I did with what little I had, and now my child turns out to be whatever the child turns out to be. Obviously, most of the times, something that the parent doesn't want, but it is what it is. So what I'm trying to get at is, make sure you pay attention to what you are doing. Nobody put you in that parent position. And to hold the title of fatherhood, I think it's the greatest honor in the world. It's not a privilege. It's earned. Don't quit. Don't stop. Keep moving forward.